I wanted to see if we could actually have a combination of desert racing, rock crawling, or rock racing.
Over the years, Fast and Loud became one of the most fascinating shows on TV. But to everyone's surprise, it came to an abrupt end. Interestingly, the decision turned out to be rewarding for the cast, as their lives now seem to be thriving more than ever. In this video, you'll discover where the stars of Fast and Loud are today and uncover the real reasons behind the show's sudden disappearance from the screen. Richard Rawlings.
See how the salsa goes down. I could do this.
Richard Rawlings didn't slow down when Fast and Loud came to an end. If anything, his engine just shifted gears. Many thought his story would fade once the cameras stopped rolling, but Richard surprised everyone. Gas Monkey Garage kept breathing, kept building, kept roaring. The moment he walked away from the Discovery Channel, Richard opened a brand new lane for himself, his own YouTube channel. And that move paid off so well that he eventually had to hire an entirely new crew just to keep up. Leaving Discovery was not just a break, it was a freedom ride. For years, Richard talked about his frustrations during his time there. It even took him a full 5 years to finally pull off a crossover with the legendary Chip Foose. When he finally stepped out, the weight lifted. Suddenly, he could build what he wanted, say what he wanted, and run his world his own way. But freedom didn't mean rest. Richard stayed as busy as ever. His life took a few unexpected turns too. It began with him selling off his Gas Monkey classic car collection, not out of loss, but for desire. As he said, he wanted better cars, different cars, things I've always wanted to have. Soon after, he sold 28 cars from his collection, earning over $1 million. And with that money, Gas Monkey Garage had more fuel than ever to hunt down fresh machines to resurrect and document. Richard handled each project with the same passion he'd carried since day one. And reporters noticed. His fans noticed too, showering him with the same loyalty they had shown when he first started building his empire independently. Richard's fire didn't come from comfort. He grew up fighting through life's cracks. Born in Fort Worth, Texas in 1969, he lived through struggles that could have broken someone else. But inside those hardships, something started growing, a love for cars. As a kid, he followed his father to auto shows, studied every curve, every shine. He built models with his own hands. He even bought his first car at the age of 14, long before most kids knew how to drive. His parents valued education, so Richard went to school and later graduated from Eastern Hills High School after 7 years. Life moved quickly after that. In 1993, he married Karen K. Grains, though the marriage ended the following year. Still determined, Richard launched Lincoln Press, a printing and advertising company, in 1999. That same year, he married his second wife, Suzanne Marie Mergele, in Las Vegas, Nevada. The marriage had good days until things turned dark, and the couple divorced in 2009. But love is messy, and the two remarried in 2015. Then on March 11, 2019, Richard shared on Twitter that he and Suzanne were separating again and filing for divorce. Outside of Fast and Loud, Richard's life was just as wild. In May 2007, he and his co-pilot, Dennis Collins, attempted to break the 1979 Cannonball Run record of 32 hours and 51 minutes. Their bet with rival Jay Rica led them to roar across the country in a modified black Ferrari 550 with extra fuel cells. Their final recorded time was 31 hours and 59 minutes. But the achievement stirred controversy. Some argued the distance and times didn't match, yet they remained the only pair to break the 1975 record set by Rick Klein and Jack May in a Ferrari dyno. It happened partly because other competitors either refused to follow the original route or took alternate paths far from the cannonball runs of the 1970s. Even Richard's heroes, Dave Hines and Dave Yarborough, who held the 1979 record in their Jaguar XJS, started from Darien, Connecticut, instead of Manhattan. Richard's entrepreneurial spirit didn't stop there. In September 2013, he opened Gas Monkey Bar and Grill in Northwest Dallas. Soon, another location launched at the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport in March 2014. Richard even spoke about opening a third Texas location outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area. His next big step came in October 2014 with Gas Monkey Live, a massive venue built for live music. But the venue closed its doors in May 2020. Even after these setbacks, Richard didn't let failure grab the wheel. He pushed forward and launched a new restaurant concept, Richard Rawlings Garage. The first location opened in Harker Heights, Texas, in 2016. But this restaurant also shut down permanently in March 2019. Still, Richard refused to quit. That same year, he licensed the Gas Monkey brand to a line of energy drinks, proving again that he'd always find another ride, another idea, another spark. Aaron Kaufman.
You need to go do it, start doing it, find out who's the best around you, hang around them, try and take their job,
Aaron Kaufman wasn't just another mechanic on a TV set. His journey began in a small Dallas garage, long before the name Fast and Loud meant anything. One ordinary day, fate walked in wearing a Gas Monkey shirt. Richard Rawlings happened to see a quiet mechanic working like he was born with a wrench in his hand. The way Aaron tore apart a vehicle and rebuilt it felt almost unreal, like the car was trusting him to give it a second life. Richard knew instantly that he needed this guy, and he didn't waste a second bringing him in. Once Aaron joined Fast and Loud, everything shifted. The show gave him a platform big enough to launch him into the world of automotive entertainment. His rise was fast, solid, and lasting, the same way Gordon Ramsay carved his name into the culinary world. Viewers connected with Aaron instantly. They loved his precision, his calm intensity, and the way he treated each car like a living thing worth saving. Working side by side, Aaron and Richard became a duo fans rarely saw coming. They traveled across the USA, digging through scrapyards, garages, and forgotten fields in search of rusty machines that had long lost their glory. What they brought back to Gas Monkey Garage were more than wrecks, and what they created were more than builds. Together, they revived relics into roaring beasts, masterpieces of metal, performance monsters, and showpieces worthy of parades. As Gas Monkey Garage grew, Aaron became its lead mechanic and master fabricator. Some of his most unforgettable work included the 1966 VW short bus, a vehicle that had been sawed in half and welded together without its middle. The GMG team revived it with clean paint, fresh wheels, and a new mill. Then came the Thomas Crown Affair Mustang, a 1968 Mustang transformed into a Fury Road-inspired machine, with wide tires, flared arches, and spotlights. Next was the 1979 Harvester Scout Hell Scout, where the GMG crew took madness and turned it into brilliance by dropping an SRT Hellcat engine under the hood. They finished it with a dropped suspension, Revo forged wheels, and a custom paint job. After that came the Ford GT Bad GT, already a monster, but GMG still pushed it further. With twin turbos and nitrous injection, the car unleashed 2,700 horsepower and a top speed of 310 miles per hour, all while staying street legal. Their final highlight together was the Jeep CJ7 veteran build, created to honor service veterans. Inspired by the 1970s Super Jeep, they kept classic Jeep elements like chrome wheels and bumper, mud-terrain Goodrich tires, and a CJ interior. They upgraded the mill and painted it with a custom Stars and Stripes design. The vehicle later sold for $1.3 million, benefiting the Gary Sinise Foundation. But as Aaron's influence grew, something else grew with it: distance. Fans thought he left suddenly, but the truth was layered. While rumors claimed a major fallout, later it became clear that although there wasn't a dramatic explosion, there was tension over time. Anyone who watched the show saw the disagreements. With strict filming deadlines, heavy pressure, and camera crews capturing every heated moment, the environment was far from peaceful. When Aaron finally spoke about leaving, he mentioned growing personal issues and professional differences of opinion. He also admitted he wanted something bigger, something deeper than what TV timelines allowed. The projects he dreamed of would take months, not weeks. Gas Monkey's pace, shaped by television demands, simply wasn't built for the kind of visions he carried. Many fans believed Aaron's talent was being limited, and they cheered him on when he stepped into a new chapter. After leaving Fast and Loud, he kept doing what he loved most, working on cars without the weight of fame sitting on his shoulders. He didn't chase clout or rely on his past. He kept building, kept dreaming, kept creating. His name will always echo whenever the legacy of the show is remembered. And now, it's time to meet the next stars who helped shape the world of Gas Monkey. Christy Brimberry.
Not super smart. It's probably the worst tattoo I've had, but it's a constant reminder, so I love it.
Christy Brimberry wasn't just another face in the background of Fast and Loud. She was the invisible force that kept Gas Monkey Garage from falling apart. When she joined the team, her presence was immediately felt. She ran the office both on camera and behind the scenes, holding the chaos together with sharp focus and a calm that the crew desperately needed. Christy handled everything from ordering the crucial parts for each build to managing the payroll for the entire GMG staff. She really was the glue, the one who kept the machine running even when everyone else was knee-deep in grease and deadlines. Christy appeared on and off the show between 2012 and 2017. Her connection to the garage actually began long before she stepped into the office. Her husband had been Richard's hairstylist for years, and through that connection, she ended up with the manager role. She handled the job so well that fans rarely suspected the truth she kept hidden behind her smile. Christy was fighting cancer. She carried that battle alone for a long time without letting it interfere with the show or with her responsibilities. But by 2016, her health could no longer stay in the shadows. She underwent major surgery to remove cancerous lymph nodes from her thyroid gland, then faced months of treatment, including radiation therapy. In 2017, she finally shared her victory with fans on social media, letting the world know she had beaten cancer. Still, her fight meant she could no longer stay at Gas Monkey Garage. She stepped away and began working at her family's business instead, returning to a quieter life at the salon. From all reports, she has been doing well and living at her own pace. Sue Martin, another beloved figure on the show, had her own unique presence. Sue was Richard's go-to expert for interiors, the mastermind behind the upholstery work on the garage's biggest builds. She wasn't a GMG employee, she ran ASM Auto Upholstery, her own shop. Fans adored her sharp wit and no-nonsense attitude, but the tough deadlines of the show took a toll on her and her team. Eventually, without explanation, Sue disappeared from the show. Neither Richard nor Sue ever talked about it openly, but even after leaving, Sue continued shining. Her business, now known as the Upholstery Queen, kept thriving. Reports say she remained strong, focused, and fully dedicated to what she was always great at. Casey Mehmet was another unforgettable name. He stayed with the show until 2015, then stepped out to build something of his own. His venture became KC Paint Shop, a place that focuses on high-end restorations, custom hot rod builds, and powerful performance upgrades. He's known for his exceptional talent in painting and fabrication, and his shop gained a strong reputation across Texas and beyond. Mike Coy also carved out a name for himself. After leaving the show, he turned into a social media sensation, especially on Instagram, where he built a massive following of over 225,000 fans. He often shared clips of his painting and fabrication tools, keeping his audience connected to his craft. For a while, he stayed away from television, but in 2023, he made a comeback as the shop boss and painter for the Netflix series Tex-Mex Motors. Now that we've revisited the stars who shaped Fast and Loud, It's time to uncover what the show truly was, and why it eventually came to an end. Fast and Loud.
Finish race car conversion on it, get a nose back on it, get sticks inside of it.
Fast and Loud was once one of the most beloved shows on television, a reality-styled series on the Discovery Channel that followed Richard Rawlings and his team at the Dallas-based Gas Monkey Garage. Viewers were pulled into the thrill of watching the crew hunt for battered, forgotten cars and bring them roaring back to life. What they did wasn't easy, but it was addictive to watch, and the show quickly exploded beyond anything Richard or his team expected. As the popularity grew, the franchise expanded with spin-offs like Misfit Garage and Fast and Loud, Demolition Theater. In these spin-offs, Richard and his crew watched clips together, replaying the footage and reacting with sharp comments, while the victims of the clips added their own thoughts. The seasons kept coming, and so did the viewers. At one point, the show took things up a notch when Richard and former GMG mechanic Aaron Kaufman joined a motorcycle build-off. They faced legendary builders like Orange County Choppers, Paul Jr. Designs, and Jesse James. It was an intense showdown, and Richard and Aaron finished second behind Paul Jr., with James coming in third. Their exposure continued to grow, and the show's fame reached new levels. Fans became increasingly curious about how everything worked behind the scenes. Fast and Loud was produced for Discovery Channel by Pilgrim Studios, with Craig Piligian and Eddie Rohwedder serving as executive producers. On June 19, 2019, the 15th season was officially announced and set to premiere on July 8, 2019. More seasons followed quickly, and on March 2, 2020, Season 16 was confirmed to premiere on March 30. Viewers didn't realize it yet, but that season would be the final run. On episode 1578 of The Joe Rogan Experience, which aired on December 15, 2020, Richard finally confirmed that Fast and Loud had ended. Interestingly, earlier in 2016, the New York Times released a survey ranking the 50 TV shows with the most Facebook likes. Fast and Loud turned out to be the most favored by men, with 83% of the likes coming from male viewers. Season 1 began on June 6, 2012, and ended on December 8 that same year. The 14-episode season was filmed on Reeder Road in Dallas, Texas, inside a shop building rented from Phipps Auto. There, the GMG crew worked in the back of the shop, while Richard brought Corvettes, Cadillacs, and other cars to Duane Phipps for quick flips. It was during this season that GMG built their ongoing working relationship with Sue Martin from ASM Auto Upholstery, located just a short push away from their shop. A new member also joined during Season 1, KC Mathieu, longtime friend of Kaufman and owner of KC's Paint Shop. He quickly became a key part of the GMG crew. Another important reveal was Scott McMillan Jr. from Scott Rod's Garage. Scott left at the end of the season to work at his own shop. Season 1 also introduced office assistant Christy Brimberry, who made many recurring appearances. Interestingly, the final 2 episodes of Season 1 were later unavailable for streaming on Discovery+. After the success of Season 1, the production moved forward with Season 2, which premiered on February 18, 2013. In this season, Richard made a major decision. He felt he had outgrown the Reeder Road shop. He placed the house on lease for $6,500 per month and moved GMG into a larger building on Merrill Road in Dallas. This new space allowed the team to work on more cars simultaneously. The move officially happened in January 2013, and they hired new mechanics and staff to handle parts purchasing and car scouting. Season 2 also showed the raw side of the business. Richard and Aaron shared how unpredictable car restoration could be. In the episode On the Hunt, Richard told Jonathan Hunt, 10 years in the car business, I could have probably gone to Harvard twice with all the money I lost. The crew often raced the clock as they fought to get cars ready for auction, all while managing tight budgets and risky buys. Aaron had his own favorite build from Season 2, a '68 Dun 100. They built it fast, and despite being brutalized daily, the vehicle kept showing up and running like a champion. Richard described the show perfectly: a blend of humor, history, risk, and reward. Season 3 premiered on June 10, 2013. The search for rare classics continued. Richard and Aaron planned to transform a vintage 1971 Dodge Scat Pack Challenger bought at auction. But the dream soon became a mechanical nightmare, unlike any they had tackled. Meanwhile, Richard invested in a new live venue near the grill, and the financial pressure made him nervous. The mechanics also restored a 1957 Shorty school bus, one of the unique highlights of the season. Season 4 launched with Richard and Kaufman traveling through back roads, barns, and open fields in search of forgotten cars. Richard had a rare eye for spotting the right vehicle under layers of rust. Kaufman decided which finds were salvageable and which were too far gone. Once a deal was made, the race against time began. The faster the build, the faster they could reach the auction block. More seasons rolled out until the show suddenly ended, leaving fans with endless questions. Why had Fast and Loud stopped? Was there a lawsuit? Did someone die? The curiosity grew, but the answers remained unclear until Richard's conversation with Joe Rogan. During the interview, Rogan asked bluntly why the show had stopped. Richard didn't dodge the question. He explained that the show was completely over and would not return. He had left Discovery Channel entirely. He admitted he had spent a year rethinking his future. With over 300 episodes behind him, he realized Fast and Loud had run its course. The show had made him a household name across America, but he wanted more. He dreamed of starting his own automotive podcast at a time when podcasts weren't huge in his circle. He wanted creative control, something he couldn't always have under Discovery. During the interview, he also talked about how a potential employer once tried to control his social media, but he refused because he wanted ownership of his own voice. Richard revealed the surprising contract clause that barred him from speaking negatively about Discovery. If he did, he would be fined $25,000. The fine would still apply even if he left the channel. That restriction made him feel trapped, unable to fully speak his mind or push innovation within the network. Even so, Richard acknowledged that Discovery wasn't terrible. He and his team did try to improve automotive programming, but it wasn't an easy road. Despite the limits, he still managed to create a successful global show. So now the question returns to you. What do you think about these stars? Who stood out the most for you? And did Richard make the right call when he brought Fast and Loud to its final stop?
I wanted to see if we could actually have a combination of desert racing, rock crawling, or rock racing.
Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Tell us which moment stood out to you the most, or which star from Fast and Loud you connected with. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps this community grow and keep stories like these alive. And before you head out, take a moment to explore the other videos now appearing on your screen. Each one dives deeper into the world of cars, creators, and the people who shaped the shows we love. Go ahead. Your next favorite story is waiting right there.